Hi, my name is Bente, I'm the Norse Witch, and Happy New Year! This video will probably be the first one that will come up in 2024, so I hope you had a great New Year's. If you celebrated, great Christmas, great Yule, great Hanukkah, whatever you're celebrating, but I just hope you had great holidays. And if you have followed me since early last year, then you know that I have made it a tradition to basically do a recap of how my practice has changed in a year. So I always look at my craft the past year in January the next year. So we will do a recap of my craft in 2023 today, which will probably be, spoiler alert, a little bit depressing, but who cares? I'm here to make this authentic and real. I'm not here to lie to you and to pretend that I'm doing things that I'm not actually doing. So let's get into it. I have my laptop right here. And as always, we will rewatch the video from last year. As always, we will rewatch last year's video so that I can give you kind of the development, because you will see the video from 2 years ago and then last year, and then I can give you the recap of 2023. So let's go, I guess. You guys, so that you get a little bit more of a proper insight into my craft. I still had my MacBook full of stickers.
Let's start. So
I got a new one, as you can see.
What is going on in my craft at the moment? I'm doing lots of meditation. Okay, I have to admit, the past week I didn't really meditate at all because I'm on vacation. When I'm on vacation, I have to admit I kind of shit on every routine that I have.
That's true, that still happens.
So also my daily meditation.
And that still happens, but that's the first thing that I can talk about already is, oh, meditation has been on the back burner so much last year. That will be, spoiler alert, that will be a recurring theme of this has been on the back burner last year. Oh, I have not meditated a lot. I have, like, in the beginning of the year, I was still very good with meditation, and then I kind of fell off of it. And now, luckily, a friend of mine who is now a mindfulness coach did a mindfulness workshop with us. And of course, it's mindfulness, there's a lot of meditation in it. So I kind of got back into it. So I'm hoping that I can keep it up now again, because it is so important to me. So I'm just a lazy person. I am so lazy. And I always think like that's a thing when I'm stressed. I know that meditation, for example, would be good for me, but what my automatic reaction is just sit on the couch in front of the TV and eat. That's my instant automatic reaction to stress. That's not a good automatic reaction to stress, I'm aware of that. So I need to work on that. But yeah, I still love meditation. It's still important to me, but I have done it far too little this year. Meditations. But yeah, I'm meditating a lot. I have been meditating a lot for like 2 years. It has become really a vital part of my craft because I do a lot within meditations. I will also talk about that later in the video when I come to other topics. But yeah, meditation is a big thing, both for just my mental health, but also for my craft. I guess basically for every part of my craft and also for my paganism journey. Yeah, so meditation is, I guess, the biggest thing even in my craft. Wow. Okay, so that's still true. I still meditate a lot. I have to admit, yes, I still kind of bail on my routines whenever I'm on vacation. And I definitely slacked a lot on meditation, like, well, I guess the last quarter of 2022. So, and that continued in 2023. I guess the last quarter of 2022. I got better maybe the first half of 2023, but then I slacked again. So apparently that's a recurring theme when it nears the end of the year. So I'm now working to get myself back into a routine of meditating daily, and not just 5 minutes, but more than that. That would be nice.
Actually doing more than just sitting down and meditating, but like actually doing purposeful meditations to do something specific. So it is still a very, very important part
within my craft, because I still do a lot within meditations. Yeah, but I have to work myself back in again a little bit, because I slacked a little bit. But that happens.
Same this year. Along with that, I do a lot of divination, especially with tarot and runes. I also recently got into tessiography, which I thought was really fun. For example, I'm also using a pendulum, but not that much for divination. I do it more for spirit communication. But yeah, I'm doing a lot of divination, and I'm actually getting more into...
That is also still true, of course. I am doing a lot of divination. And yeah, still mainly tarot and runes. I definitely got more proficient in working with the runes in the past year. Actually, my rune series that I filmed helped a lot with that. Yeah, but still, tarot and runes are still like my main divination tools. I dabble in some other things here and there. Sometimes I do a random Lenormand reading. Sometimes I do a random tessiography reading, like I said in the video back then. But that's kind of a once in a few months thing, and not something I do very regularly. Something that I have recently started doing is stöpa, which originally was lead pouring, of course.
My sweet trolldom beginnings.
Lead is toxic, so don't do that with lead. So nowadays you can do that with other things that are non-toxic. I personally do it with wax. So wax divination is a new thing that has emerged for me by the end of 2022. So we will see where I will go with that.
All right, divination. This one is quite interesting to me. I have definitely done less divination this year than I did in 2022, or like last year. Dang, I'm uploading this in 2024, but I am still filming this at the end of 2023, so that's why I'm still saying this year. I've definitely done less divination. It's still important to me though, and I want to do more of it, but I'm not that kind of person who will do divination for every single decision in their life, and I don't have a lot of decisions to make. I don't know. So yeah, divination is definitely big for me when it comes to spirit communication, probably more so than just for like fortune telling or things like that. And what is actually fun is that I still like tarot and runes, but what I am finding out for myself is that I like more intuitive approaches to divination much more. So things like scrying, for example. I've done some very, very interesting scrying in black obsidian mirrors with my ancestors, which was a very, very interesting experience. And I really want to do more of that, more intuitive things. So yes, for example, stöpa or tea leaf reading, coffee grounds reading, reading in whatever mirror. There are so many different things you can do with scrying and with more intuitive approaches to divination, so that is something that I want to definitely do more of. Actually getting more into divining for other people, because I'm offering those services now in my shop, which not a lot of people...
My cat just closed the door.
Me,
well, now you have to stay inside.
But I got to, and it was really fun to do that, and I'm also giving weekly tarot readings for some of my patrons.
I'm actually not offering tarot readings on my shop anymore, simply because I don't have the time to do that, and I didn't feel comfortable having people pay more, so I don't offer paid readings anymore. The only thing that I do is that I still offer weekly tarot or rune readings for my tier 3 Patreons. I don't do that anymore. I don't have the time. That's a recurring theme, and that is getting more and more difficult for me. I don't have the time. I should stop saying that, because it is simply I'm not prioritizing that, because I know in 2023 what I have been prioritizing is work. I have worked so much. I have worked far too much. I've done far too much. There were far too many days where I've worked literally from 10 a.m. after waking up to 2 a.m. in the morning. Let's just say something like that. Maybe with like one break to eat. And apart from that, I've been just working non-stop. I have had one weekend day a week, which of course, if you have a partner, of course, that ends up also not being a day that you only spend by yourself. So I really did not have a lot of time because I was prioritizing work so much. And of course, you probably noticed that because I've been uploading twice a week, but I have recently found for myself that I cannot continue doing that. I will finish the full and new moon series because I want that to be a full series on my channel. So I'm definitely continuing doing that. So you will still be able to watch 2 videos a week for, I think, like half a year or something. But after that, I will definitely stop doing that because yes, I am able to do that, but I am not willing anymore to sacrifice so much of my time for YouTube. I'm still very, very happy to continue doing YouTube. I still want to continue doing it. And I still want to do weekly videos and do that regularly. You know, I have never skipped a week and I will not skip a week, but I'm not willing to sacrifice more time than that anymore. So as soon as I finish my full and new moon videos, I will be back to weekly videos. And maybe I will do a live stream still monthly, but like, I don't want to pressure myself anymore that much because that is literally why my practice, my own personal practice has been on the back burner so much because I have worked too much. And I have just now come to realize that. And it's so sad now looking back and seeing how much work I could have done for myself, but instead I just worked. And that was basically the main thing I did in 2023. And that's just sad. Okay, let's go on. Tier 3, Tier 4, the 15 euro tier. You get it. This tier still gets weekly tarot or rune readings when they request it. And of course, I still do readings for friends and stuff, but I just don't sell them on my shop anymore.
I'm doing readings for my friends. And yeah, it's really fun. I'm getting more comfortable with it because for a long time I kind of didn't really feel comfortable doing readings for other people.
Okay, this is something that I really want to do more of. And I'm kind of, I have my on-the-go witchcraft kit, so I have my divination tools with me now, but I'm just often too anxious to ask, like, does anyone want a divination reading? Which is stupid, I know, but like, social anxiety. So I would really like to become the person who just does random tarot and rune readings for people, or like random tea leaf readings or whatever. But yeah, I'm not there yet. My anxiety is like, let's just like not offer that because I don't want to come across as the person who wants to be like the center of attention, you know? Childhood trauma.
Because I always thought, if I can't remember this one meaning for this one card and I have to look it up, it will be so disappointing for them maybe because they think I'm not professional enough to do readings for them because I have to look up a meaning. But
imposter syndrome at its best. I have definitely gotten more comfortable with doing readings for other people. They have gotten definitely a lot more accurate. Yeah. And even if I have to look up a meaning real quick, who cares?
Yeah, I'm getting more comfortable with doing readings for other people and just doing it spontaneously also. Also, I'm just doing a lot of regular spiritual upkeep kind of stuff, like, yeah, keeping up
what you should do,
rewards, for example, or
what you should do, which I have not been doing a lot of in 2023. I should have done definitely much more than that, but again, no time for anything. Literally just work.
Cleansing myself, my apartments, just in general, like spiritual hygiene, energy hygiene, like aura cleansings, stuff like that. That is just something I do really regularly. I try to
you should.
Like, spiritual hygiene related
Calling
stuff
myself out here.
moon, but of course I don't always have the time to do that. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely don't always have the time to do that. I still try to do something every new and full moon, but I definitely don't have the time for like a proper full-on cleaning and cleansing every single new moon. I wish I had the time, but I definitely don't. That's still true.
As I said, like, that's something you should do. Regular spiritual hygiene, spiritual upkeep, very important. But yeah, that is of course something that takes up a lot of my time. Deity work-wise, I'm currently working with only the Norse gods because I am a Norse pagan.
Still true.
I'm a dirty heathen. And I'm working currently with Odin, Freya, Hel, and a little bit with Thor. I don't know, it's not really a proper work relationship, I would say. I'm giving some offerings to him, he has a place on my altar, but I don't really ask a lot of him and he doesn't really ask a lot of me, so I don't know. I like him, so he has a space on my altar, I give him offerings, but I more like worship him than I properly work with him. But still I wanted to mention him, because he's a cutie.
Thor is still a cutie. Yeah, I still mainly work with Odin, Freya, Hel and Thor. I guess I have gone more into a working relationship. I just sometimes call on him for protection, for example. But yeah, actually Loki and Freyr have moved onto my deity altar. But I guess it's now the same as it was with Thor back then, that it's more of a worship relationship. Now I very, very slowly get to know them and communicate with them a little bit, but I don't really ask anything of them, if that makes sense. That's also has mainly to do with the fact that I am extremely busy and I don't really have that much time to dedicate to every single deity.
Apparently I don't learn.
I don't know how people work with like 20 deities. I couldn't do that, never. So yeah, I'm just slowly getting to know them, giving offerings quite regularly again, luckily. Yeah. So Freyr and Loki have moved onto the deity altar. I don't properly work with them. I'm just giving them more attention than other gods that aren't present on my deity altar. Yeah. So yeah, 2 more deities have moved in.
Okay, this will be surprising for a lot of people, but my practice has shifted away heavily from deity work. Ooh, I will let that settle for a moment. What I mean by that? What I mean by that is not that I'm not a heathen anymore. I will probably always stay a Norse pagan. And that also doesn't mean that the gods have a less important place in my life. That my outlook on the gods is still exactly the same. But if I compare what I'm doing now with what I've been doing a year ago, it's much less active communication with them. It's much less actively asking them what they want me to do. I'm honoring them and I'm venerating them and I'm giving them offerings from time to time. But it has definitely gotten less frequent. And at the moment, I'm doing literally no active communication. So if they want something, they can send me signs and we will see if I'm seeing them. But I am not really actively communicating anymore. And for some reason that feels much more authentic to me. I don't know. It kind of feels like I'm not forcing things anymore. And I feel like it is not received in a negative manner because they still have the same place in my heart, in my life still, as they had before, maybe even more so than previously. So for example, if I look at Thor has become much more important for me and I relate to him much more than before, even though I'm not actively communicating with him. At some point it started feeling forced for me to sit there and try to get some kind of answer out of them. Yeah, it started feeling forced, so I stopped doing that. I didn't really want to put myself under pressure. Of course, also because I already was under a lot of pressure with work stuff. So yeah, it has gotten much more chill, I would say. And who has gotten more important for me has been my ancestors. I see that that's kind of a recurring theme for a lot of people in their practice, is that deity work gets more shifted to the side and the ancestors get more important. I don't know why that is, but I feel like it's very interesting. But yeah, it's still the same deities on my deity altar. I would not like throw away their candles or anything. So it's still there and it will stay there. Oh, God's cat. Hello, little heavy foot. Yeah, they will stay there. But yeah, definitely much less direct communication. I'm not forcing things. If they want something, they know how to reach me, basically. It's like a very chill
friendship, you know, like if they want to reach me, they have my number. But I'm not forcing any communication. And that kind of feels much nicer. I don't know. Yeah, so those are currently the deities I work with, and I don't feel like I feel the need to work with any more deities at the moment because it's already a lot of work. And okay, what I want to do much more though is just random bloats or just in general random rituals or offerings to deities that I do not have represented on my altar. Yeah, I kind of want to start venerating the whole pantheon more than just my hearth cult. Yeah, I don't know. We will see. That's at least a plan for me for 2024.
And it's still a lot of
work. It will be quite interesting what this part of the video will tell me in a year if I started to work with more deities or if maybe even some deities left. We will see. Then
hopefully, luckily nobody left. Or luckily that will stay that way.
Then I do quite a lot of work with crystals. That's just some day-to-day stuff that I do, just randomly pick some crystals by intuition that I feel like that I would need. But I have to admit I'm not really doing it that purposefully. So I don't really take a crystal, tell it that it has some specific purpose and then use it only for this purpose. I more so kind of connect with a crystal and just take it with me and carry it with me. That's more what I do, but that's something that I want to get into more. But yeah, crystals are a big part of my craft, I would say, because I just use them really regularly. Also a lot for my mental health because they help me with my anxiety. Okay, that is something that has definitely changed within the last year. I have kind of stepped back a lot from working with crystals. I still use crystals and I still have this weird thing where I will constantly just connect to a random crystal. And I don't know why, but I just feel like I have to take it in my hand all the time and carry it with me and stuff. But I don't really work with crystals that much anymore. I will still add them to spells from time to time. But I end up going back to the same crystals over and over and over. And I feel like at this point, I'm probably more of a crystal collector that sometimes picks up a crystal to work with it or to meditate with it. But it's like, I can probably count the amount of crystals that I work with often on two hands. Like it's maybe like 6 or 7 crystals that I work with regularly. And apart from that, I'm just a collector because I find minerals fascinating and beautiful, a work of art that nature created. But yeah, I guess I've stepped back from working with crystals quite a lot, I guess. I feel like working with herbs and plants gets more into the foreground and working with crystals has taken a step back. Okay, this one is very interesting because I see a gradual shift. Crystals have been very important for me. Apparently, no cat 2 years ago. They have become less important to me last year. And this year, I literally sold my collection. So I'm not even really a collector anymore. Like if I would see an extremely beautiful big piece, a very, very stunning mineral, I would maybe get it, but it's more like decor for me at this point. I literally do no work with crystals anymore, nothing. And that has even spilled over to my shop. I'm not really excited about selling crystals anymore. I will still do because I know people like them. But yeah, for me personally, it's just not really my jam anymore. If I look at the last spells, for example, that I've cast, crystals were not really included in them. And I don't miss it, you know? It's like, I have herbs and I connect much more to herbs. It feels more genuine to me. So yeah, I have sold my huge crystal collection. I still have some. I still own like some bigger pieces that are more decor. I still own some tumbles that are the ones that I have connected with over the years, especially. So those I kept. But compared to before, like my altar was full of crystals. I have had 2 or 3 shelves full of crystals. Now I can probably count them. I can't count them on my 2 hands, but I maybe have like 20, 25 left. And previously I had like at least over 200, 300. My crystal collection was huge. It's gone. I sold it.
Then of course, I'm currently studying astrology, but I have to admit, I don't really have a lot of time at the moment, and I'm really lacking energy and motivation to
Just laughing at myself.
So I don't really put as much effort and time into it as I should, probably.
Definitely didn't.
I think I'm supposed to put in like 7 hours a week to complete the course within a year. It's supposed to be a year. I won't be able to complete within a year. No. So yeah, but I'm trying not to stress myself with it. I study it whenever I feel like it. And yeah, I just don't want to force myself to do it. So yeah, I'm studying astrology. I love astrology, but it's a heavy topic. So I'm not doing as much as I probably should.
Okay, not doing as much as I probably should and taking my time with it ended up in dropping it completely, because I just realized that if you work 6 days a week, 8 hours, you don't have the time to put in even more work in one specific topic and studying it properly. And I still got all of the material, all of the learning material, and I will do it whenever I feel like I have the time and I want to do it. But for now, I guess I'm happy with what I know, and that is just basic things like what the zodiac signs are, what the planets are, what their associations are. Yeah, like very basic things. But to be honest, I don't really work that much with astrology anymore to begin with. It doesn't really go farther than looking at what the moon, like what zodiac sign the moon is in when it's a full moon, for example, or a new moon, or maybe working with the planets and their associations. But I don't do much more than that. So yeah, I actually dropped astrology, or properly studying astrology, very quickly after that video. I still find it interesting, and I still consume a lot of astrology content on TikTok, for example, just because I find it interesting, but I don't really study it anymore, and yeah, I don't put time into it anymore. Let's just say it like that. Yeah, that hasn't changed. I have not taken astrology studies back up, and I don't plan on doing it. As I said last year, it's not really a part of my practice. Like, I use it for timing, as I did back then. Like, I look at what zodiac sign the moon is in when it's a full moon or a new moon, and I time my workings according to that, because that's just what works for me. But apart from that, I don't really use astrology. Like, yes, I have some astrology content on my channel, but that's just a fun thing, you know? Like, I use astrology for fun. I use astrology to roast myself, to roast other people, and just for fun. Like, it's a party gag for me at this point, and I like using it that way. Astrology is fun. I don't take it too seriously, but like, I don't have any plans to become an astrologer. I don't have any plans about like being able to properly look at someone's birth chart or anything like that. So yeah, dropped it, didn't take it back up. It's more of a party thing, a fun thing for me, and a spell timing thing, because that works very well for me.
I think spell-wise, the spells I do most often are candle spells and everything that has to do with petitions, sigils, bind runes, and burning stuff. I think that is what I do most. I am currently...
That is probably still true whenever I want to cast a spell and I'm not very creative or I do it very spontaneously. I usually still go back to candle spells. But I have gotten quite more experimental with my spells. I've gotten quite more crafty. Like, I don't know, I made another money bowl that I have a video on. I made a spell sachet that I use every single night that I have a video on. Yeah, I guess I'm doing also in general a lot more folk crafty things, I guess. So yeah, I'm getting a lot more experimental and creative with my spells, let's just say it like that. But still, I guess candle spells are still my favorite because they are so versatile. You can do whatever you want with candle spells. And they're easy if you're lazy, so I guess they're still what I do most often, especially combined with sigils and bind runes, but I'm doing more now
I did more. I also did more than candle spells back then, but I feel like I got more experimental and creative with my spells.
Okay, that is still very true. I'm still a very lazy person, and candle spells are just very versatile, and you can drop so much stuff into them, and yeah, just have fun with correspondences. You can use oils and herbs and like crystals, which I did back then, which I don't do anymore. You can add your own blood or hair or fingernails. You can burn them all at once. You can burn them at multiple days. You can do whatever. Candle spells are just fun, so I still do a lot of them. Probably my favorite and most effectful spell that I cast this year, cat. My cats are very annoying right now. Probably my most effective spell in 2023 was a candle spell. So that says a lot, but yeah, of course I'm not limiting myself to it, but I guess that still hasn't changed. Like, bind runes are very, very important. Blood has become much more important in 2023 for me, just as a spell ingredient. I have formed a lot of different connections to different herbs that I'm using. So, oh yeah, oils have also become very, very important. I'm using so many oils now. I love it, and I love making oils. It's so fun.
Going through a year of monthly candle spells, actually, because I just want to get more experimental, I think.
Oh, the good New Year's resolutions.
What it is actually that helps most in my spells. Is it the herbs? Is it the crystals? Is it the sigils? Is it the timing, maybe? The planetary hour, the moon phase, the day of the week, whatever. Because I tend to just slap everything there is into one spell and then hope for the best. So they get
Still
really
do
overloaded
that
with a lot of stuff. And I just want to, yeah, kind of find out what helps best, what helps most, and what I don't really need. So I'm going through a year of monthly candle spells, and it will be really interesting, I think.
I had so many plans.
That was one of my New Year's resolutions for 2022, to do these monthly candle spells. And I did it for like 4 months, I think, and dropped it afterwards because I couldn't be bothered. Yeah, I don't know. First of all, I'm lazy. Second of all, I get very into one topic and then I drop other topics. So that is kind of the topic of this whole video, me dropping things. Yeah, no, I dropped it after 4 months. I just felt like, yeah, well, if just throwing everything on top works, why should I bother stopping doing that? I don't know, maybe I should do it again, becoming more experimental, because I've definitely gone back to just slapping everything on. But I mean, layering works, and if layering works for me, why should I stop layering? I don't know.
It works, so I stopped doing it.
Dropped that after 4 months. I still have to do my March one. My January one was one that I packed with everything there is, basically, and it worked really well. And then the February... That has actually become my go-to quick working money spell. So
that was that one? I'm still doing that. I have this one money spell. It's a very easy peasy candle spell. Whenever I need money, I do that spell, and it's very efficient. It's great. It's interesting that that was one of my experiment spells. Interesting. Totally forgot about that.
That's definitely what this experiment was worth. I definitely have a go-to spell for candle spell for money magic now, so that's cool. The one was one where I basically didn't do anything apart from lighting a candle, and that didn't really do much. So yeah, that did nothing. I will just try to add herbs. Maybe the next spell I will add a sigil. The next spell I will try crystals, and then I will see what worked best. That will be interesting. In a year, I'll have to make... I can definitely say what I learned from that experiment was that it's very hard to properly compare the results of a spell. Maybe? Yeah, I will probably make a video on that and what I found out. I'm also working through a rune journey at the moment with my Patreon Discord, or at least some people from the Discord who wanted to also join me for it. It's really fun. We're just basically drawing a sigil on our body somewhere for each week. And yeah, after 24 weeks, because we're doing the Elder Futh arc, And after 24 weeks, we will have experienced all the runes, energies for ourselves. The goal of that is to just get a more personal connection to the runes and to find out maybe what they mean to us, instead of just picking up a book and going by what the book says, because basically every book says a different thing about a rune. So, yeah. Making more personal. We did that. We did the whole journey. We did another journey. So we did 2 rune journeys the same year, and we have actually started another one this year. But now we're going for 2 weeks for every single rune. So it will take us a whole year to complete the journey. It actually works very well. So I definitely recommend it for anyone who wants to kind of make their own experiences with the runes and get to know them properly. Maybe consider doing a rune journey. We're still doing that on the Discord, so if you want to join, subscribe to my Patreon. I think we have just started one. I think 1 week before New Year's or something. Quite recently. Experiences with runes. I do everything extremely intuitively at the moment, so instead of picking up a book and saying, oh yeah, this crystal does this and these herbs do this, I tend to more connect with the energy and the spirit of the crystal or the plant or whatever, to find out for myself what I think I can use it for, and to just form a personal connection. Basically everything that I do at the moment is really intuitive, so it's more of a, oh, intuitively today I feel like I should cleanse my apartment and clean my apartment, which I did for the last 2 days because I felt like the energies were extremely bad in my apartment. So I felt like I should do some physical cleaning and also cleansing. Yeah, or I feel like I should go on a walk with a deity or for a deity, or intuitively feel like I should give an offering, something like that. It's more an intuitive thing than a planned thing. Then also
That is still very true. I guess that will always stay the same. I will probably always be an extremely intuitive person and do spell work and spiritual upkeep and whatever whenever I feel like I need to. I do plan things. For example, I plan things that I want to do for the new or the full moon, but usually I plan those very spontaneously, like a day before maybe. So It's still intuitive. I plan that I want to do something, but whatever I really do, I do very spontaneously and intuitively. And I still very intuitively connect to spirits, crystals, herbs, especially with land spirits and trees for some reason. Yeah, I guess that will always stay the same. That will always stay the same. It is still the same, and it will probably always be the same. That's also why I actually got rid of all of my routines that I had previously, because I am just not a person that sticks to a plan, because as soon as I feel like I have to do it, I'm not interested anymore. I'm just an intuitive person. If I don't feel like there is a need to do something, I won't do it. So what I've actually thought about doing though now is to still not really have a routine, but to purposefully set aside like half an hour in the morning or half an hour in the evening or something to just do something. Because what I have realized, if I don't have a routine, sometimes I just will do exactly nothing. And that is also not the purpose. Like, I still want to do stuff. And if I don't purposefully and intently set aside time for it, sometimes I won't take the time for it because I feel like, oh, I could use this time for work. I am severely obsessed with work. It's not healthy. So yeah, I kind of want to just set aside like a half an hour or something to do something. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if it's meditation, divination, taking a walk, something. Something that's not work. We will see how far I am getting with that. I'm interested in seeing the result next year. It will always stay the same. I will always, hopefully always keep my good intuition.
Getting more into connecting with specific crystals and plants, it's shifting heavily from perceiving plants and herbs as spell ingredients and more into perceiving them as plant and crystal allies.
I did that.
So I focus more on this one specific crystal and try to find out what I feel like I could use it for, or what energies it has. I don't know, my correspondences with it, whatever, than to just go with what a book says. Yeah, so I guess I'm getting like heavily into working with crystal and herb allies, which is really fun. I kind of slipped into it when I found out that I have a weird connection to juniper. Yeah, I can't really properly describe it, but I just feel a random connection to some plants. So for example, to juniper, to mugwort, to pine, to yew, to oak. So I don't know why, you probably know it too. I just have a weird random connection to some specific crystals and plants, and I'm trying to get more into that. Yeah, I just try to follow my intuition there. Yeah, it's just a general theme at the moment. My intuition never really told me anything wrong when it comes to my craft, so I try to just listen to my intuition with whatever I do. And yeah,
that is still definitely very true, and it has definitely intensified. Like I just now have like my go-to crystal and plant allies that I work with. I have gotten to know quite some plants pretty deeply, and that's also something that I want to continue doing in 2023. I actually still have the plan to do a lot of research and also my own experiences with a lot of plants, like once a month. For example, my January plant is Angelica, so I'm doing a lot of research on this plant. I will, if I can, like I will drink it as a tea. Maybe I will eat it. I will use it as incense, meditate with it, whatever I really want to do and can do with the plant. Because of course, if it's toxic, I won't eat it. And then make my own experiences with that plant spirit. So that is something that has definitely intensified over 2022, and it still happens that I find these random connections to random crystals, random plants, random plant spirits, random land spirits. I still can't properly explain it though. That is still the case, more so with plants though than with crystals. I have done heavy research this year about plant folklore. That has been like an obsession of mine, especially Scandinavian plant folklore. I think it's so interesting, and it actually validates my own intuitive feelings, because I tend to connect to plants that have some kind of importance in Scandinavian plant folklore and plant medicine and folk medicine. So that was very interesting to see. Some plants have definitely been added to the list. For example, blackberry, which I don't think has like a lot of significance in Scandinavian plant folklore, but it is growing very abundantly around me. So I kind of did a focus here on blackberry this year. Angelica, which I feel like is so funny that I mentioned it in that video. Angelica has become one of my main plant allies. Angelica is amazing. Sadly, I only have Angelica growing in one park, and I never go to that park because it's so overcrowded and I can't really sit there and connect to the plant. So that is pretty sad, but apart from that, Angelica is amazing. I've done a lot of work with birch. I really love birch and oak, and so many great plants. Rowan has been getting more and more important, and I'm actually thinking of doing a focus here on rowan in 2024. Crystals have gotten less important and plants have definitely gotten more important. I just love working with plants, and you can do so many fun things with them, making oils, making teas, making tinctures, making hydrolytes, making sprays. Oh, it's so fun. But yes, I'm still connecting very intuitively. And I don't really look at correspondence charts anymore, like at all. I have like my go-to allies, and if I have something that I've never done, then maybe I will look at some books that I trust, like for example Icelandic plant magic, and then just try to get some inspiration. But apart from that, like I have my go-to plant allies that I work with, and sometimes a new one pops up, but pretty rarely at this point.
As I said, I'm getting more into working with herbs. Before it was always more like, oh yeah, I want to do this spell, so I just pick up this herb from the store and then throw it into the spell. It's just shifting more into really properly doing research on one specific plant. I'm focusing on one plant a month, and then
still
just
doing
writing
that.
down whatever I find about this plant. And
What has really helped me to stay on top of that is to actually make grimoire pages on these herbs for my patrons.
Oh yeah, I did that.
That was very, very helpful because, as you have seen over the course of this video, I am very quick to drop topics and to pick up new topics. And yeah,
I'm so ashamed.
making these grimoire pages for my patrons has very much helped me to stay on top of this whole researching herbs thing. Yeah, and I'm still doing that.
it's really fun because I feel like I just
Not doing the
get a
pages
more
anymore, at
personal
least.
connection to this plant, and I also want to start doing that with my houseplants because I have a lot of houseplants, so why not work with my houseplants? So yeah, that is what I'm currently doing most.
And I want to start doing that with my houseplants. Well, I actually started working a tiny little bit with my houseplants. Like, I cast 2 spells with 2 of my houseplants, which seem to work great, and the plants are doing great. But I definitely didn't get more into the associations that my houseplants have and stuff like that. So yeah, apparently
Still didn't, because I like having exotic plants in my house. Like, every kind of plant that I have in my house is not a plant that would grow around me because they just don't thrive in an apartment. But I don't spiritually connect to them, you know? I like looking at them and I like that they're surviving in a climate in an apartment, but I don't really connect to them in that way. It's very weird because the connection that I have to my houseplants is very different than the connection that I have to plants that actually grow outside my house.
apparently I wanted to, but I didn't.
So yeah, that is what I'm currently doing most and what I'm currently getting into more. But I also wanted to talk about what I want to get into more, or what I want to focus more on.
I forgot about that part.
Whenever I have more time, because I have very little time. But
I definitely still have very little time. I'm still working 6 days a week and
Still doing that, and I definitely have less time even than I had last year. It has gotten progressively worse, and the only one to blame is me.
that is very stressful.
yeah, one thing that I focus on more again is trance journeys. I really love doing those, but at the moment I just don't really have a lot of time. And also,
That didn't change. It's kind of tragic to look at this video and see like how much I wanted to get done in this year and how little I actually got done because I just didn't have the time and the energy to do so. I definitely didn't get back into more spirit flight.
Oh damn, the sun is coming out.
A couple of times. I still love doing it, but yeah, as I said in that video, I don't really have the time to do it that often or as often as I would like to.
still, sometimes I just feel like I can't really properly focus enough on it, and if I can't properly focus and relax into it, then they won't work. So yeah,
that's the thing.
whenever I will have more free time, I really want to get more into trance journeying again.
Whenever I have more free time, it got less and less and less free time, so that's cool.
I love it.
Yes, please. I still want to get more into it again. I actually thought about focusing more on doing that, maybe on full moons. We will see. The thing is that I really like to connect with the gods and goddesses that I work with on trance journeys, on spirit flight.
That's true.
So I really want to get back into doing that more often, but I really have to like clean my schedule so that I can solely take like 2 hours to do that.
Very
and that's
true.
often just not possible.
Very true.
So I would really love to get more back into it again. Something else I really want to continue doing is finding my own correspondences for the planets. I started doing that with some friends of mine, but I kind of...
Guess what? Dropped that. Didn't do it.
Nope. I just do not work with the planets. I don't know. I mean, I have my own associations with the planets, but I don't really work with them that much. I don't really work with planetary timing and stuff like that. So, meh.
didn't continue because I always feel like, I don't have the time, I will do it later, I will do it later.
I don't have the time, I don't have the time.
I did it for some planets, but I kind of stopped at some point. But I really want to continue doing that because it's really fun finding out my own correspondences for the planets. So again, it's another thing of finding my own way and intuitively feeling what I want to do instead of looking at a book and finding out, oh yeah, planet Mars, this correspondence. Something.
Yeah, I still don't like looking at a book and then, just going by what the book says.
Yeah.
I'm just not the person to do that, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's someone else's experience. That doesn't necessarily mean that my experiences with whatever spirit or thing are the same.
Exactly.
Something else I would really love to try again after like years of not doing it is trying astral travel. I got really heavily...
Didn't do it. Because if I wanted to do that, I would need a lot of time, and I don't have the time. I usually do it before sleep, but I end up staying awake for 2 hours longer than I usually do, and I already don't sleep enough, so...
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I mean, that is something that went better this year. I have really prioritized getting enough sleep because I realized I'm just a person that needs a lot of sleep. I need like 9 hours plus. So that is something I actually have figured out for myself, and I have started prioritizing sleep. So I actually get 9 hours of sleep probably like 80% of the time. So that is great because back then I realized sometimes I just slept 5 hours, 6 hours, far too little, and I woke up and I was completely exhausted. So at least now I get enough sleep. So that is good, I guess. But yeah, I still have not gotten back into trying astral projection because it's just too much time that I don't have, especially if I want to sleep in the evening. I'm usually exhausted in the evening, so nah.
Into trying astral travel and astral projection, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, and I never
the good old uni days when I still had time to do things like that.
Oh
really
yeah.
succeeded in that. I think it was probably because I wasn't really used to meditating a lot, but now that I'm much more experienced with meditation, I just want to try it again and see whether I will have more success with it
Valid
now.
point. Maybe I would be
really
more
cool.
successful now.
Then, as I mentioned already, I really want to get into working with my houseplants. I have this one houseplant that I have a connection with.
Didn't, as
because
I said.
connected with it and talked to it. And it's doing really well. Even if the plants around it are dying, it's doing really well. So
What I have started doing though is talking more to my houseplants because they love it.
I kind of want to do more work with my houseplants, maybe even try to ask one of my houseplants whether it could like create a ward for my home.
I actually did that and it seems to work perfectly. The plant is still very much happy and alive.
Oh, camera is overheating again.
But yeah,
see you
getting
later.
more into work with my houseplants, that is something that I would also really love to start. Then, as I also already said, I really want to put more time and effort into astrology. I really hope that I will have more time in the near future to do it, and maybe just more energy, more motivation. Yeah, that's just something that I hope I will be able to do. And then lastly, I really want to try out knot magic. I have never done knot magic, but recently I read about kind of combining rune work and knot magic, and I found it really interesting and it gave me so many ideas. So I really just want to try out knot magic. And I mean,
That's actually something that I very much got into this year. I did a lot of knot magic. I like knot magic. I have done a very, very successful knot magic spell where I basically just put the energy of a Gemini new moon into the knots. So whenever I need some fresh air, some new ideas, I can untie a knot. That was great.
how cool would it be to kind of do some embroidery and combine it with knot magic? That would be so cool. So yeah, that is definitely something that I want to do. And I mean,
I did try out knot magic, like very, very easy knot magic, but not like advanced things. Like I didn't do any embroidery and put my juju into it. What I actually thought about recently was maybe making a friendship bracelet and making that with protection in mind.
I would still like to
making
do
like a
that.
protective friendship
I
bracelet.
didn't.
Maybe. We will see. We will see if I actually end up doing it. Probably not.
I didn't.
Maybe I will be able to kind of combine that with work for my shop. We will see. My shop is kind
Yeah.
of also my play area, because I just
It
can
is.
try out new things, like try out new herbal blends or try out new incense blends. I'm currently getting into making like incense sticks. I'm making a lot of oil.
Incense sticks. I still haven't mastered the art of making incense sticks and incense cones. I made farting incense cones in 2022.
Oh yes.
They are very weird and very fun. I now use them as offerings for my ancestors and for the gods. But yeah, I did manage to make some that I actually could sell. But my shop definitely is still my play area. I am making lots of oils and incense blends. I made such amazing incense blends. Like, for example, my Yule incense blend is like the most cozy incense blend ever.
Yes.
It has like things like cinnamon and cloves and cacao nibs, actually ginger. It's like very warm and very cozy. I love it. So that is still very much my play area. I really want to get into making powders. So I still really love my shop for simply just being my play area. It's amazing.
That is still very much the case. I still love it. I definitely would not have done so much work with herbs if it hadn't been for my shop. So, for example, I did start making powders. Making powders is one of my favorite things now. Incense blends, of course. I've made an amazing money work incense blend with the name Cash Cow. So that one was great. So much. But the incense stick thing is so interesting because I still haven't mastered it. Every single website that has instructions, it always either uses like essential oils, which I don't like because they are not sustainable. Like, you need so much plant material for just one drop of essential oil, so I don't want to use those. I also don't want to use like maca powder. So most of the instructions that I find online use materials that I do not want to use. I would like to simply only use herbs and charcoal and something to use as a binder. And that is very, very hard. I haven't stopped trying again and again though. So maybe at some point I will actually be able to sell incense sticks, but this far I have not mastered it still.
A lot of oils at the moment also, which is really fun. So yeah, my shop is kind of a little bit like my creative witchcraft outlet.
It is.
That is everything that...
Okay, as I said, that is everything. So, ow, my ear. If you hear my cat snoring, I'm sorry. Yeah, so that was it about 2022. But I actually got into more stuff because, yeah, my focus just changed. It's very funny kind of to look back and to see that, like, I was working heavily with crystals and I was into astrology and stuff like that. And it actually shifted a lot because, for example, one thing that I got into is Scandinavian folk magic. And that is something I definitely didn't see myself getting into previously, but I got into it. And now I'm actually taking a course in Scandinavian folk magic.
Still doing
so that will be interesting. It's I think it's 1.5 years. So it will take me some time to get through it because, as I have already said, I don't have a lot of time, and luckily it's an archived, pre-filmed course, so I can do it whenever I have the time. But I definitely got more into that, and that is also where, for example, the stöpa came from, doing the wax pouring, wax divination. That is something very fun I got into more. And then, like, other than that, my craft, I have to say, like, apart from stuff that I stopped doing, my craft hasn't changed that much. I feel like some things have just intensified. And yeah, I definitely got into Scandinavian folk magic, and
One thing that, for example, has changed a lot is just like the way that I'm casting spells, for example, is I feel like a lot different than before. For example, I cast circles less. I still do it whenever I feel the need to. I can't remember the last time I cast a circle. So that is something that has definitely changed. My craft has gotten much more low magic, much more folk magic, much less ceremonial. My craft was never ceremonial, but I still had these elements, like casting a circle, for example, which I don't really do anymore because I don't feel the need to do it. But I don't always do it. One thing that definitely has changed a lot is how I put my intention into my spells, because I always felt very awkward to like chant and to like write spells, like oral spells that I could say out loud to charge things and to put my intention into my spells. And now I do it all the time. It has become such a crucial part of my craft. So that is something that has definitely changed a lot.
Oh yes, that is one of the most important things I'm doing now, working with my breath and working with my voice, singing, chanting. I write a lot of my own chants and incantations. What I really want to get into is trying to combine that with a Viking Age poetry to use some of the, what are they called, verse forms that were used in the Viking Age and after that still also in poetry, because a lot of them have ties to magic spells and stuff, and they are still used in thralldom, for example. And when I read some of the poems still in Old Norse, I got shivers and goosebumps all over my body because it just resonated so well with me. And I can go into trance states and just alternate states of consciousness very easily when I'm chanting. So that is one of my most favorite things ever.
I also work much more with oils simply because I started making so many oils.
Oh,
it's just
yes.
extremely fun and I feel like they just work extremely well. So I definitely work a lot with oils, even just with simple things like, for example, using my psychic oil before I do divination, or like using my psychic oil before I meditate, using my money and success oils in my money spells, things like that. I feel like I've gotten even more crafty, definitely, thanks to my shop also.
Oh,
which is
yes.
friggin' fun. I feel like I make most of what I use in my craft, I make myself, and that's amazing. Yeah, my camera overheated and I don't know what I ended with. But I guess I have covered everything. I will just go over straight away to the patron shout out.
Okay. So that was the last year's. Let me quickly look. I mean, I took some notes for some things that I wanted to say. Yeah, I think I've actually gone over everything. So to wrap things up, I worked far too much this year. And because of that, my practice went on the back burner a lot, which is very sad. I got rid of all of my routines. That was actually quite nice. I think I will keep it that way. I'm not really a routine person. But I definitely want to get back to doing things more regularly and just taking the time and prioritizing my own practice. As amazing as it is to help other people in their practices with my videos, I also should definitely focus more on my own practice. As I said, deity work has gone more into the background. My ancestors have gotten more into the foreground. I'm still doing deity work. I'm still venerating them. I'm still a Norse pagan. I will always keep it that way. I'm resonating with that a lot. There have been a lot of herbal practices and lots of new herbs that I have connected with, lots of plants that I have connected with. It's getting more and more heavily bioregional, so plants that are actually growing around me are much more important to me now. I'm not working with crystals anymore, really, apart from using them as decor. Whoops. Yeah, I'm still working a lot with oils. I love them because they're so versatile and just so fun to make and easy to make. I love working with my powders, and yeah, I'm still making basically everything that I use myself. I'm still doing the thralldom course. That's finally something that I have not dropped. I have stuck with that and I will stick with that. I'm doing it pretty slowly and I'm still like a baby thralldom practitioner, I would say. So that's why you don't see videos on that, because I'm not in a place to talk about it yet. Oh yeah, blood has become very, very important to me. Bind runes are still extremely important to me. I would say I'm using bind runes more in active spell work than I do in divination now. And in the next year, yeah. I just want to, I don't really want to pressure myself, so I'm not doing anything project-wise. I'm not saying like, I want to focus on a plant a month or do like a candle spell every month. I don't want to put myself under any pressure. The only thing that I want to do is practice more. So I really want to just set aside an hour or so for my own practice every day. Doesn't matter what it is. Could be meditation, could be journaling, could be divination, could be actual spell work, could be writing something in my black book, which I recently ordered a new one that I will solely use for Nordic kinds of things, which I'm very, very excited about. So yeah, those are my plans. I know it's not exciting, but I want to get back and actually practice and actually do a lot of stuff. I have practiced, I have cast spells, I have connected to a lot of plants. I feel like my shop is a very, very heavy factor in that, because since I own a shop, I run a shop, I can't just stop altogether. So that has definitely kept me busy, and it will definitely keep me busy. But yeah, I want to get into many, many more things. Focus on my own practice much more. I'm already looking forward to only making one video a week, because it will save me so much time. Don't get me wrong, I love doing this, but when it gets to a point where you're just working 24/7 and I don't clean my apartment for a week or something, that's just insane. It has just gotten far too far. But yeah, I'm realizing I still have my headphones on. Why? I hope it was interesting for you. Honestly, I make these videos much more for myself than for anyone else, because that way, in like 5 years, I can look back and I have like a compilation of me talking about my practice, and that way I can see how it's developing, which is very fun to me. But yeah, I still hope you took something from this video. I don't know, even if it's just a little bit of fun. As always, I want to do a patron shout out. Thank you so much to Carrie, August, Anne, Hannah, Helena, SJ, Natasha, Merle, Anne, Kate, Cade, Thistle, Adam, Z, Kent, Brittany, Emery, Celine, Smolkata, Josh, Elinura, David, Christine, Rixie Business, Annalena, Bast, Ashley, John, Phoenix, Jenny, Maggie, Misty, Amy, Bethany, Timothy, Coffee, or the Honorary Gossip Squirrel, and last but not least, Bjorn. Thank you so much for your support. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe and give a thumbs up and ring the bell down below so you're notified whenever I upload a new video. Of course, feel free to check out my other socials or my shop that I've been talking about a lot for ethically and sustainably sourced witchcraft and paganism tools. And if you want to support me in another way, then of course, feel free to check out my Patreon. And with that being said, I will see you in the next video. Off to a new year! Bye!